asking a series of lifestyle questionnaires. This then gave me the information that I needed to then reduce wasting time or to avoid certain exercises as well to keep within the time limit, for example, likes, dislikes, and barriers. The downside to this is that I did not consistently review the session during the planning of my session with the client. I didn't really allow for any improvements or feedback throughout the program. I could have used dynamic review as I went along to be able to get a one-to-one feedback and maybe an adaptation session with the client. But I also didn't plan for a formalised review with the client at the end of all the sessions. The reason I chose a circuit session was because during the screening element I was able to gather that they preferred this method of training due to previous medical history and likes and dislikes. It also allows for variation as well for client 1, as she had gone through an ACL reconstruction and therefore she cannot do continuous training or following because it would put too much strain on the ligaments excessively. Especially during changes in power and speed, this could impact her knee and cause injury. I was specific during the planning of my program because it made sure that it was detailed, such as squats with dumbbells and barbells instead of just saying free weights. This program was mainly targeting lower body and abs, as this is what my client 1 wanted, whereas client 2 required more of continuous training. The reason I chose this was because during the PARQ I discovered that it was their preferred method of training as a positive to the intensity increase. Each week I increased the weights and intensity in relation to the progress of my client. This can be reduced also by dynamic reviews throughout, but I did this at the beginning during the planning of mine, not during. I also ensured that they would have had to achieve the desired changes or adaptations that were needed, whereas a negative to increasing intensity would be that throughout my program I increased intensity as well as time. However, these changes may not have been realistic, but I may not have realised that until we reached the point set in the program. For the HIIT session, the progression doesn't have to be as gradual as for the free weight session because the risk of injury is slightly reduced from muscle damage. Most of the sessions offer different durations to allow for variation, and if a session for client 1 was particularly tough session, then it would be finished early or have more of a rest day. However, there are advantages to the session being at the same time, as it means that the client can get used to a routine, whereas negative to changing the time constantly. For example, client 2 the session was the same length of time, however it can be made longer but maybe at a lower intensity, reducing tedium. I could have made it shorter and increase the intensity, therefore increasing overload. For my exercise session, I used a risk assessment to make sure that all the possible risks for whether I did my session inside or outside were all taken into consideration. I included it in my session plan so that it was all planned ready for if there was a risk, and I knew exactly what I needed to do if there was one. My session plan is really helpful because if I didn't have that, then I wouldn't have had any rough idea of what I would have done in that session. Even if I remembered it, I probably still would have changed it, and then afterwards in my review I still wouldn't have been able to remember it. The main reason for why it was bad to have the way I did the session plan was because I had it on my laptop instead of a paper copy, which was hard to handle when I was outside. So that was either a lack of organisation or I didn't know that I had to do it at that time. So for the PARQ, I didn't get my clients to complete one each, but maybe I should have done that for if I were to do it again, because it helps whether they determine whether they can take part or not. the quality of the session was good, because after the session I did a plenary, so a feedback from the group, whether they enjoyed it, and whether they felt that it improved their muscular endurance. However, they said the organisation was lacking, and for me, my session was a little short, so it didn't quite fit in the 30-minute time frame. It was only about 20 minutes, but I should have had some more exercises planned, so adaptation should have occurred. My rapport, I feel like it's a very important factor, but I did not fulfil it to its best level, as I could have been more engaging and motivating for everyone. I should have tried to engage all the participants, but instead of just a few that I feel I clicked with or I was closer with. I feel that the objective was achieved, to improve muscular endurance, because after the session I asked participants again if they felt like it could have been it could help in the long term, and they all rated me 3, 4, and 5, whether it would have worked. Alternative exercises, as I said before, I should have included, because some people finished the circuit quicker than others, and because there was an uneven number, so I should have had some other exercises prepared, and also for my time scale I should have had some more. For my review, I feel like it could have been better, because I could have written down the feedback that all the participants gave to me, rather than just listening and taking it in, by asking them after the session how it went, and it allowed me to see what I needed to improve upon. I could have also videoed my review and my session to make it more clear for my exercise session review. Professional development to help me improve. I will try to do more sessions to gain my confidence and allow me to improve upon my organisation. I will then record what I've learned, and then do practice sessions with more groups of people to build up my confidence and my rapport and my organisation. I could also take part in a level 2 fitness instructor's course, which would be roughly about £500 for me to partake in, to not only give me a qualification, but to help me with my professional conduct, my organisation, and more ideas for alternative exercises. The next slide is my risk assessment, which shows all the different risks and all the outcomes and what actions I need to take if necessary. And that is my 14.4 review.